we are in the music room here at Bishop Louis Reicher Catholic High School, and I'm sitting next to Sister Maximilian Marie, and it is an honor to sit next to you.
Well, thank you. Very nice to be here.
Sister, there is a lot happening here at Bishop Louis Reicher, and you are very instrumental in that. I wanted to find out today what all is happening, and but before we get into that, we were talking with Miss Becky. Help me, Deacon.
Becky Chalette.
Becky Chalette.
Director of Enrollment and Management here at Bishop Louis Reicher.
Yeah, and Bishop Louis Reicher had a open house this past Sunday, and she told you what happened.
They did. We talked to Becky earlier. She was going to be on the show with us today, but she's out showing families around the campus. So, and I told her actually to step in and show them what's going on here at the schools. That the kids are going to be on the radio. We're actually filming this for YouTube, as Dennis had mentioned. But yeah, Becky told us that it was an awesome turnout for the open house on Sunday. She said families everywhere, existing families who were coming to talk to the teachers that their kids would have next year, new families coming in to check the school out, to really see all the great reasons that you need to consider bringing your kids here. You know, as the academic environment is wonderful, but the faith environment is incredible because of people like Sister Maximilian Marie and the other Dominican sisters that are here.
She did say that.
No, she did.
She did say
she
that.
She did. Okay, she said something Darren and I were shocked over, that you had 7 students last year that were students here that were non-Catholics that joined the church.
I think it was more than that.
More than that?
I think it was 12 or more.
That's incredible. And
in middle school and high school.
I believe that's a direct relation to what you and the other sisters are doing.
Well, thank you.
That's the big difference.
We're just chasing the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So just being open to where God has planted us. And it wouldn't happen without just an amazing faculty and staff and administration and just the openness of the students in their hearts. They're hungry and they respond.
Wow.
Awesome.
Well, Sister, let's begin with you. So the order that you belong to?
Yes. The Dominican Sisters of Mary, Mother of the Eucharist. And we're out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, founded in 1997 with just 4 sisters who came from an existing Dominican congregation. And when I entered in 2001, and there were maybe about 30 at that time, and it was only 4 years after the founding. So now we're over 100, almost 150 sisters that get missioned out to the Catholic schools in the nation and have the privilege of just working in the vineyard in all the different areas. And so we've been blessed to be here at Bishop Louis Reicher Catholic School. This is our 3rd year. So
Wow.
just 2.5 years we've been here.
So how many sisters are here, and how did y'all how did Bishop Louis Reicher end up with?
Right. Well, that's only the Holy Spirit knows, I think, but at the end of the day. But there are 4 sisters here at Bishop Louis Reicher, and there's 2 in the lower school. So one in 2nd grade. She gets to prepare the students for Holy Communion and their first reconciliation. And then a sister in middle school who teaches theology and math. And then 2 here in the high school, so theology and then humane letters, which is basically like literature and history.
Oh, nice. So this school, since you've been here for 3 years now, are there nice things here? What do you like about Bishop Louis Reicher?
Oh, gosh. Well, we've all taught at various schools over the years, and I was a principal for a time and taught high school and also elementary school. I love what I've found here is a particular type of openness. There's just a certain openness among the students and especially the faculty and staff too. And I think that's just such an important thing because you can go where you're sent, but and we just give what the Lord gives us, but if it's not, if there's not that openness and a reception on the other side, like there's only so much one could do, right? When bringing the Lord, but there's just such a beautiful openness, I think.
Well, sisters, I can tell you that from everyone that I've spoken with, as well as myself encountering y'all, and whether it's at church or out in the public, y'all smile a lot, and
It's good.
and I think that's, we're attracted to your demeanor and how you all present yourselves as representatives of Christ, and that there's an attraction that we have to that, and I think that's what the kids probably also experience. If
I hope
was to
so.
guess.
I'm looking over at them, and that's probably not the case every day. But
It's when you make them have a test.
right? No, I have to always remind myself. Saint Teresa of Avila says, Lord, save us from sad saints. I think she said, and a disciple of Christ. That's just a fruit of the Spirit. So if you're living the life as a disciple and truly following the Lord, and then especially in religious life, there's that extra. Embedded in our life are so many tools and protections that just strip away all those things that maybe make us happy in the moment, but rob us of lasting joy and that spiritual joy. And so, you see the smiles too among the faculty here, and because that they're living that life as well, and the students too. So it's the Lord.
The Holy Spirit has an impact on us for sure. The when you're helping the students not only with their academics, but you're also helping them grow in their relationship with Christ. What are some of the things? I mean, I know you said sisters helping them with communion, but what all is happening throughout?
Right. I think. I think what Dominicans especially bring to education is just that reminder that we're both body and soul. And, so a true education is going to educate all aspects of the human person. So I think oftentimes it's just reminding ourselves and others, what it means to be a human person. And so I think, we've started the arts and anthropology modules, and slowly but surely, I think the students and the faculty and staff are understanding the purpose of that. And so really it's just kind of a whole person formation, like everything from the art of communication and interpersonal relationships to virtue and Christian living to the art of dance and reverence, so all these things that used to be in our culture and part of our everyday formation that we would receive in our families and through the culture, that now we're getting a completely different message of what's true and good and beautiful. We're trying to just put those into a more formal education within the curriculum. So, I would say that's kind of, I think, one big thing. And then just introducing the students, the faculty and staff on a daily basis to the virtues and what they look like, what they sound like, how we can grow in those every day to a heroic degree. And then you just teach, you just show up in your classroom and the Lord puts before you these particular students, and first and foremost, we spend our holy hour every day just being filled with the Lord so that we could bring them His love and our love purified by Him. And so that's the most important thing, I think.
So understand that each month y'all practice a new virtue.
Right. And actually, I think it's we're kind of rotating it week by week now. Okay. So this week, I'm looking over at the students. What is our virtue of the week? That's right. Trustfulness, or is it trust? Yeah, I think it's basically to be trustworthy. Yeah. Last week was modesty. The week before that, courtesy. So just spending a little bit of time every week on what that is.
So in what you said before, with all that you're helping the students grow in, are you encouraging them to take that home as well and to share with their family at home?
That's the hope. I think that happens especially at the lower school because the little kids can't help but go home and start telling mom and dad, that they're not being affable, or they're or they're not being humble, So we have to work on that sometimes with our students. I think with the high school students and it's more of a quiet and an internalization and kind of with everything in their lives. So, but yeah, I that would be interesting to ask parents of the high school students, have you noticed or have you heard them ever, talking about virtue or bringing that up even in a casual manner? Or even, do you notice that they're making decisions that are reflecting like hospitality or are reflecting, a true sense of justice?
Right.
It's a good question.
Good. So again, I mentioned there's a lot happening here at Bishop Lewis Reicher, and you're very instrumental in that. So there is an event that's been happening in the church since 2022. And it is the National Eucharistic Revival.
Correct.
Can you explain a little bit about what the...
Sure, yes. There's wonderful, wonderful resources on the internet that I have not yet to even, plumb the depths of, but so many wonderful resources. But, really just the bishops have identified probably, you pick one thing that as a country we could focus on to increase our faith and our means of discipleship. And, what they've observed and what we, I think, experience is a need to our Eucharistic devotion, because the statistics show that the belief in the true presence of the Eucharist, that Jesus is present, body, blood, soul, and divinity, the statistics are very scary, and it's affecting the culture and our families and our own, our personal happiness. So just to galvanize the entire country to just focus on that one thing, the Lord in the Eucharist. So there's all sorts of programs and it's being culminated with the Eucharistic Congress this summer in Indianapolis. And just the little bits and pieces that I have heard, you don't want to miss out. And I don't know, maybe it's too late to get tickets, but it just sounds like it's going to be, the event of a lifetime.
Yes. And the Eucharistic revival started on a diocesan level, is that right?
I think so. I'd have to look back on my notes and the history of it again, but that's usually how these things work, like diocesan, kind of a synodal listening sessions. I am a little rusty on that.
Okay.
So.
But I think starting this year, it's going to be focused at the parish. The more focus of the awareness is going to happen at the parishes.
Yes.
So with that, you have an event that will be several events that will be happening that you were instrumental in obtaining. So what I understand that you applied for a grant.
That's right.
And tell me how this grant came to be.
Oh, yes.
And it's a long story, but I'll let you share it.
It is great. Let's see. We got some time here. Okay. Well, and it really is. Again, it was inspired by the openness of the students, and so going back even our first year here, like Alice and Emily sitting over here, they were freshmen, and just the sisters were new, and I teach theology, so I teach all the students, which is great. You kind of have your finger on the pulse of the school, and I lived in Rome for 4 years, and I would on feast days I would put the projector on and take them on virtual pilgrimages. And so we'd visit all these sites in Rome, and I would kind of use Google Earth and show them inside the churches, visit this saint or that saint. And, or for like Eucharistic miracles, show them these places where these Eucharistic miracles took place. But over time they were like, sister, let's go on pilgrimage, or take us to Rome. And I thought, gosh, that would be great, and didn't give it much of a thought. But then this Eucharistic revival started happening, and that was on the wake of things we were already doing in the school. We instituted a liturgical formation, which was doing just that, like trying to educate us more for our Eucharistic devotion, focusing on the liturgy. Projects the students were doing. The students did an amazing job with the Jewish roots of the Eucharist last spring. And it was at this time that I was like, wow. And so a lot of the Eucharistic miracles would come up in these conversations. And I was like, why not? Let's just look into a pilgrimage. And so I got on the phone with a friend in Michigan. He has a travel agency, corporate travel services, and he just wanted this to happen for the students. So he coached me through how to make it very affordable. And but at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like the Holy Spirit wanted us to do it just yet. Part of that was financially, like we'd have to raise all this money, and I just didn't think we were in a place to do that at this point. So I kind of packaged up all those dreams for a Eucharistic pilgrimage, miracle pilgrimage in Italy, put it on the shelf. And just 2 days later, I got in my box here at school from our development director a packet for a grant, and it was for $100,000, and it was specifically for the Eucharistic revival. And she just had a little sticky note on it saying, let me know if you can think of anything we can use for this. And I was like, oh boy, do I have something. So, long story short, we spent the next 10 days because the deadline was coming up, and recorded the video, did all the paperwork, the budget, planned the pilgrimage, and in the pilgrimage would be, first of all, locally, and then internationally to the Congress, and then an international pilgrimage for a Eucharistic Miracles pilgrimage. And, so we did all that, and then we just waited. And so it was, that's kind of how we came about doing even applying for this grant. It was through the Scanlon Foundation. And it was just almost like it was tailor-made just for kind of the idea that I had that God was saying, wait.
So did you dance with joy when you received word that y'all won the...
I did. Miss Besa could attest to that. I was teaching, and, poor Miss Besa, she knows not to interrupt me while I'm teaching. Like I just want to focus on the students. So the students are the most important thing. So if people come by to visit, I'd rather them just wait. So they called, and she told them, no, sister is teaching. So I didn't talk to them, but she brought in to me a sticky note saying, call Larry Massey at Scanlon Foundation. You got it. And so, she saw me do a little dance.
But she paused the class material for a little celebration.
Right. Yes, I had to keep it under wraps. So.
Oh, so the students didn't know?
They didn't. I wanted to get everything ready, so it actually waited about a month before I announced it, to have all our ducks in a row.
How exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 days to prepare all of that, that's a feat.
It was.
Especially, and so you said from a local level, and then even to the international level on these pilgrimages, and what will you be doing locally?
Yes. So Father Chris Smith and Father Ryan Higdon, they're helping us make arrangements at Texas A&M for their Catholic Center. So the whole school will go on pilgrimage to, I think it's St. Mary's. And I'm kind of new to Texas, so I don't know all the names and places.
You may or may not know, sister, but Dennis Mock, our illustrious president, is looking out the window at St. Mary's right now.
Is that right? Okay,
our studio
great.
is at the Student Center.
Okay,
there at St. Mary's.
Super.
I'm envisioning it as we speak. Hundreds of students coming in from St. Louis, right?
Great. Well, we'll come by and say hi. And I think we're actually looking at April, Easter Wednesday in April. And so just a day to have Mass and maybe some talks and maybe some interaction with the college students there. And just really the point of a pilgrimage is it's a spiritual opportunity to grow. So, it doesn't really matter if you're driving down the street or to the next town, but the intention is what matters. And so we'll be there for a day. And then we have a group of 6 on scholarship going to the Congress in Indianapolis this summer. And along with the Ablaze ministry, and their other students will be going too, but 6 that will benefit from the grant.
Wow. So that's good. And I think Father Chris has some connections there.
I think so too, right. Yeah, he makes it known too.
Hey, sister, one thing I was going to mention that, just wondering, from what I understand, the competition for that grant was pretty tough.
Yes.
Was it all of Texas, or was it even?
Yes, all of Texas Catholic high schools,
Okay.
and which are I've learned there's 62.
Okay.
And so each one of them were sent the packet, is what I understand, and yes. So I was surprised. I was really happy, but surprised. So
The Holy Spirit was working through you.
It's true, and the students, they'll attest to this. They knew that I was applying for it, and I wanted them to be praying for that, and also for not to, like easy come, easy go type of thing. But we prayed a novena to Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament, and really the intention was we'd only be awarded it if it would be something that would bring spiritual growth to each one of us personally. If it's, so we talked about, it's not a vacation, it's not a trip. It has a different purpose. Right. And so that was our prayer. And then we just left it up to the Lord.
And so it will be the whole high school?
It will be next year's juniors and seniors. Okay. So these are the students that did this exhibit last year that really inspired the project, the Jewish roots of the Eucharist, and Deacon Robin Waters was with us last year for that exhibit.
Yep, came and did Roundup from here last year,
right,
with the sister and all the students, and
right,
that was a wonderful time.
So there's another level to this excitement, sister. Where are you going? You said internationally.
Yes, so we will be going to Italy, and both Father Chris and I are bringing the students, and we both lived in Rome for 4 years. He might have been there a little longer. And we're going to be flying in and out of Rome, and then hitting several Eucharistic miracles. So we'll, as soon as we get off the plane, we'll go to Orvieto, which is where St. Thomas Aquinas wrote the Mass for Corpus Christi. And the Eucharistic miracle of Bolsena, which is the little village across the lake there. Orvieto is where they house it's an altar stone, but also the corporal that still has the blood stains on it from a Eucharistic miracle. There's a whole story about this. I know we're limited on time, but and then from there we'll go to Siena and spend 2 nights in Siena. There's a Eucharistic miracle there at San Francesco. And we can even have like exposition of these miraculous hosts that I think it's maybe 500 years. I forget how long that they've been intact, but there's a whole story about that. A tabernacle was robbed for the chalice or the ciborium, and the hosts were dumped in the poor box. But when they found them, they put them in a receptacle where they could deteriorate. They just haven't. Like it smells like a fresh bakery every time you open it. Oh, wow. So, and another beautiful story there. But also St. Catherine of Siena, so in the footsteps of Eucharistic saints. And so we'll be in her stomping grounds. And after that, we're going to do 2 nights in Assisi. So Carlo Acutis, our new blessed. And then, of course, St. Francis and St. Clare of Assisi, so these Eucharistic saints, 2 nights there. Then the next day, 24 hours, will be a pretty packed day. We're going to go to Loreto, Our Lady of Loreto, where the house of Mary is preserved when the angel Gabriel appeared to her, so where the Word was made flesh. So we'll spend some time praying there. We'll go to Lanciano. That's probably one of the most well-known Eucharistic miracles, and there's some it has the most extensive scientific data behind it. And then on to Manipello, and more people are learning about Manipello. It's where it's purported to be the veil that covered the face of Jesus at the moment of his resurrection. So there's an image of it, kind of like the shroud, matches up with the shroud, but his eyes are open.
Oh, wow.
And it's not the three-dimensional, but also, and his mouth is open. And so, just to pray before that miraculous image. Pope Benedict had been there on pilgrimage several times. And then we'll have 4 days in Rome. And so we'll have an audience with the Holy Father. We have a private tour with no one else in the Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
These are our friends at Corporate Travel.
Wow.
They take good care of us. We'll go to the 4 major basilicas, and it'll be the Jubilee year. So we'll probably be among the first pilgrims in 2025 to walk through those Jubilee doors and
What a blessing.
those graces.
Wow.
And then at each of the basilicas, the Jubilee doors. And then just, living in Rome, we'll take them on different, footsteps of the saints and the catacombs and the holy stairs and, oh my gosh,
Yes.
just so much.
I got to go there a couple of years ago, and going up those holy stairs was
It's powerful.
man. You can only go up on your knees,
Right.
and you can see all the cracks where people have put notes and
Yes.
things, and just to think that the Lord walked up those same steps.
Right.
is amazing.
Yes, it's fascinating. I know so many things are in Rome. So they were these stairs that were in Jerusalem. They were transported by St. Helen, and same thing with the House of Loretto. So it's almost like you get a little taste of Jerusalem and the Holy Land, even there in Rome.
Yes.
So, a lot of activities, a lot of travel. What are y'all doing to prepare as currently the sophomores and juniors right
Yes,
now?
correct.
There will be juniors and seniors when they make the trip.
Right.
The pilgrimage, I should say.
Yes,
not the trip.
Yes.
What are y'all doing to prepare?
Well, every month we're having a mandatory meeting, so with both parents and students, and we go over practicals and things that kind of help us get excited, but then also some aspect, like the first time we did a virtual pilgrimage and learned about some of the artwork that we would be seeing. I can't remember what it was that time. It was a statue. It was Mary Major. We did a virtual pilgrimage there. Mr. Clafferty, our art teacher, will be going with us too. So he's preparing us every week, every other week. The whole school gets to do an art talk with him. And so we did the Holy Doors last week. At our last meeting, we really talked about the nature of a pilgrimage and what makes it different than a trip or a vacation. So there's that kind of ongoing thing and a lot of just practical preparations. But in class, we'll continue what we did last year and just do some projects, exhibits, and the students will be choosing a Eucharistic miracle to research, one that we'll be visiting. And then also they'll be researching those the saints that will be visiting and accompanying us, but also maybe different churches and artwork, or even just the different towns. I want them to know a little bit about each of the places we'll be going to, because it's just so rich in art and culture and there's a lot of different saints you can visit and just different sites. So they don't know that yet, but it is going to be kind of the direction we're going in terms of the education. So there's going to be a education piece as well.
So in this being a Eucharistic revival, what are you focusing on in communicating to the students about the Eucharist itself? Is it just that Jesus is the present body, blood, soul, and divinity, or is there more to that you're communicating?
Do you know what I've found with the students is, and myself too, like especially after being in Catholic school for 10 years, 8 years, you start to get numb to it. And you know what? They know all that. So intellectually, they know all the things. But for myself and for others, you see, like what I've been focusing on with the sacraments in general, and then in particular with the Eucharist eventually, is that, you can only receive according to the mode of the receiver. So really taking a look at, what obstacles do we have in our hearts and our minds? And even like what lies do we believe that keep the infinite graces that are available when we do receive the Eucharist? So kind of taking a look at it in that dimension. And the theology, of course, helps with that and how grace works. But really just praying about how to teach the sacraments in a way that, because, they're just sitting there like, what does this have to do with me? How does this matter to me? Like, I know this is what the church, and they do believe it. But I think for all of us, there's still a lot of obstacles that keep us from really allowing those graces and that reality to penetrate.
Sister, last year when you did the exhibits for the Jesus and the Jewish roots of the Eucharist, one of the things several students told me that I was very impressed with, and this goes to exactly what you're talking about, is they said, I knew the theology. I knew that we were taught that the Eucharist was the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus. But what this project did was it took it from my mind and it placed it in my heart. And that's what you're trying to do with this this trip as well.
Yes.
And even more so than just doing an exhibit.
Right, right. That's the goal, the point.
And are you focusing on what leads to the Eucharist? Like, without the Mass, we do not have the Eucharist. Without priests,
Right. And that's kind of, imperfectly, yes. We've been doing this even before the Eucharistic revival. We've had the liturgical formation, and where even the parts, looking at the parts of the Mass, or looking at the vestments of the Mass or the sacred objects. It's so beautiful when you see that every single thing that your eyes see in Mass, there's a theological reason behind it, a reality behind it, and then absolutely. So like with I think having the sisters here and the priests available, I think that focus on the priests and how important they are, just on that day-to-day basis. But when we speak about salvation history, and we talk about the Eucharist and the redemption, happening on the cross, like it's all available, but it's not unleashed. It was instituted on Holy Thursday. The priesthood and the Eucharist. It's all there and available, but it wasn't unleashed until Pentecost. And like really just trying to insert them in that's what you're living now, and it's all available, and through the priest, through the Eucharist, in particular for this conversation. But again, you can have all of that and understand all of that, but still not receive what God is trying to what God is showering on us.
Right.
Darren, we've got about 8 minutes until the break. Do you want to talk to the kids a little bit and ask them a few questions about what's going on with the...
I do.
Yeah.
So we have sitting with us Emily, is that correct? Yeah. Emily Vika?
Vika.
Yes. Okay. And so what are you excited about on this trip? Or pilgrimage, I said trip again. Pilgrimage.
I think for a lot of people, like you said, knowing the theology of something and actually having a more personal experience with it, and personal experience with God within yourself is very separate. You can understand everything on a theological level, but not fully, grasp it within yourself, as in there's a spiritual understanding of something, and then there's the intellectually knowing something. And I think for me, a lot of it is, and I think for a lot of people too, with doing this, is actually seeing relics and seeing saints and seeing landmarks and chapels and these locations. It's so much different than hearing about them or learning about them and it inspires more of a direct sort of an inspiration within you to seek God. I feel like
Because it's real. It actually happened, and it's real. You can. I don't know if they're going to let you touch any of the relics.
We don't ask. We just touch.
No. But you get to see something, and it's tangible. It's not a story. It's not made up. Christ did die for us. It's a real experience, and that's good that you get to experience this. You looking forward to the trip to Rome, and any particular place and one thing you want to see?
Siena, actually. This is really interesting because St. Catherine of Siena. And then also there's a few chapels I was curious about, but who knows? There's a lot of things I'm also... This is separate from it, but because Rome is a place with a lot of beautiful art and beautiful architecture, I feel like that would be a wonderful thing to experience, like just to see, like in person with my own eyes. I feel like that would be such a wonderful thing.
Nice. Emily's an amazing artist, so yeah, you're gonna love it. And I think Emily, that's exactly what happened to me when I lived in Rome for 4 years. I had learned all the saint stories, but there's something about praying at their tomb and walking in their footsteps that it kind of demands that response, and kind of like what you were saying, like it at a different level, a more personal level. So it's exciting.
I'm sure it is. Are we going to try to fit them all in before the break?
No, we don't. No, we can come after the break. We can come back and continue this conversation. A lot of times we'll talk about local events after the break, but we don't get to come visit with y'all too often.
Oh, great!
So,
yes.
So we may throw a couple of things in, but we might have you want to have McKinnon come over and say a few things and kind of. Hey, McKinnon, come on over and trade with Emily here.
Sister, how many students total will be going?
It will be, I think it's like 36, but then also there's some space reserved for transfer students. So there is room for growth. Okay. And then right now we have 4 of our faculty members going, actually 5. We just got our nurse, and then there might be a few more as well, perhaps parent chaperones.
Okay. Well, welcome, McKinnon. McKinnon Salmon.
Yes, sir. That's me.
Known him since he was a baby.
Yeah.
So what is it that you are excited about on this pilgrimage?
I think, well, first of all, they've helped us prepare really well compared to how it could have been. So I know our humane letters class, we've been learning about Romanesque architecture and what to expect, especially with Mr. Clafferty too, with all the different art and stuff like that. I think overall for me, I'm just kind of excited for the whole experience itself. Nothing in particular, just kind of being there more than anything.
Yeah. So is there not one place that you want to see in particular, or that you would want to see?
I mean, I think I'm excited for, I forgot what you called it, but St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes, Orvieto. Yes.
That to me, I like him as a saint. One of my friends actually has him as his confirmation saint, and I kind of didn't really know about him, but then I looked him up and everything like that, and I thought he was pretty cool. But so I think I'm excited for that more than anything.
So we have 2 minutes. The growth that are you growing? Do you feel like you're growing spiritually in this time up to the pilgrimage that you're going to experience?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I think knowing that we're going on this pilgrimage, it's kind of helped me reflect on what I need to do before we go. I feel like I want to read a little more scripture, kind of get familiar with all this other stuff that I don't know about yet, but I think that'll help a lot.
What's the buzz around with your peers?
Oh, we're all excited. I think we're all going to have fun together.
I'm sure you will. Good. And how do you hope to grow from this?
I think I want to grow probably spiritually with God, but then also kind of spread that to my friends. I feel like we all together as one kind of need to come together, I guess, and grow spiritually.
Yeah, That's a good thing to keep in mind.
That definitely does happen on a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Yeah. You suffer together and you have joy together, and yeah.
So we're getting very close to the break here, and we still have one more student that we will, it's Alice.
Alice, yes.
We'll be speaking with after the break. And Sister, this has been wonderful so far. And McKinnon, thank you
Yes,
for
thank you.
being
Yeah.
with us. And tell Emily I said thank you as
I
well.
sure will. I sure will.
Yeah, we let her walk off before we thanked her for coming on the show.
Yes.
Right.
She's eager to get back to class. huh?
Yes, back to art class.
Right, right.
Dedicated student.
I know.
So I think we are really close, and thank you all for being listeners to Red Sea Catholic Radio and on YouTube, for those of you all that are watching on YouTube. You're listening to Red Sea Catholic Radio, Religious Education for the Domestic Church. We are here at Bishop Louis Reicher Catholic High School, speaking with Sister Maximilian Marie, and we are have been talking over the past 45 minutes about the National Eucharistic Revival and what activities y'all have going on, as well as the excitement, the buzz that all the kids are talking about, the trip that y'all get to take to
Pilgrimage, Darren.
trip. I said it again.
We do it too. We do it
The
too.
pilgrimage to Rome.
Right, right.
So y'all have several things. The locally here, y'all are going to A&M to St. Mary's.
Yes.
I call it a cathedral because it looks like a
It
cathedral.
looks beautiful.
It-
Never been there, so I'm looking forward to
Very
it.
beautiful church. And then y'all will be, 6 students will be
6 students that are going on scholarship, but quite a few more that are actually going, and then with the youth group here at St. Louis as well, and Ablaze Ministries.
And y'all will be
And some
going to
sisters, too.
Indiana this summer.
Yes,
For
yes.
that National Congress. Is that what it's
Yes.
called?
I think it's the
National Eucharistic Congress.
National Eucharistic
Mm-hmm.
Congress.
I think they call it a trip.
I think that might be.
And then in 2025,
Right.
the big news, the
January,
trip to
yes,
Rome.
Yes.
Pilgrimage to Rome.
Pilgrimage.
Yes.
I said trip again.
Right, I know. We'll come back from Christmas break.
Deacon Robin, this is fun. I like it.
We'll give you a grade today too
So y'all,
before you leave.
when is that trip again?
So we come back. It's I think January 7th or so until the 17th. So 10 days. We'll come back from Christmas break probably and have one day to make sure everyone's back, and then we'll head on out. And so it'll be Christmas, still the Christmas octave. So when we get to Rome, at the Vatican there in St. Peter's Square, they have the huge Christmas tree and a different nativity like creche every year from different parts of the country, of the world. And so that'll all be up. It'll be Christmas in Rome still.
Wow.
So
What a Christmas gift.
an Epiphany. I think we get there on Epiphany because they still observe it on the actual
That's going to be
day.
amazing.
It will.
Wow.
It will. So.
Y'all got any spots open? I can go?
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, maybe we need some live radio coverage while we're
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
from Rome.
free trip for the media.
Day by day coverage. Didn't think about that. Thank you, sister.
Sure.
So we spoke earlier with Emily Vicka and McKenna Salmon, and now we have Alice Clafferty.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So Alice, I can tell you're smiling a lot. I guess you're excited about this.
I'm very
Pilgrimage?
excited. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is it that you hope to draw from this pilgrimage? What is it that you...
Well, I'm really excited to see all of these different places that I've learned about, and really grow in my faith through actually seeing those places. And I feel like I can really grow closer to God through this pilgrimage and through my friends. So I'm really excited for that.
So is there any particular place that you're hoping to spend a little time and experience more than others, or?
Oh, pretty much everything.
Oh, everything.
From all the places we've learned about in art talks with Mr. Clafferty, my dad. Just seeing everything there and walking in those footsteps of the saints and seeing everything from the holy doors to different churches almost every day. And everything that Sister taught us about on the virtual pilgrimages we take, seeing those in person, just everything about the trip.
So you'll be experiencing the people in Italy,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it'll be a different culture there. Have you been preparing for that as well? Have you brushed up on your Italian?
Sisters
We need to do a little
slowly
work,
teaching
don't we?
us.
I know, and even I think starting this spring we'll even take a deeper dive into the actual places. I've kind of thrown up some pictures here and there, so they just have enough like eye candy to like understand like this is going to be amazing. But I'm really excited for them to take a look at each of these locations and even what the culture would be and get familiar with the streets and everything through Google Earth, and so that's coming. But I love the Italian culture. I can get by with the language, and so it'll be kind of fun to integrate that into our classes this spring and then next year too. So
You have not only prayed, studied. You spent time together as a school to grow, to make this pilgrimage. Sister, I'm sure that you and the other sisters, is it just you or are the other sisters, do they get to go?
Sister Marie Benedicta, who teaches humane letters, she'll be going as well. So
Okay.
the two of us that teach at the high school will be going.
But your hearts are warm with the excitement
Yes.
and joy to be able to do this.
Yes, it really is, and and I've been there. I'll never get tired of Italy, I don't think, but I'm just especially excited to share that with the students, and so that's just the exciting part for me. It's just really special to be able to do that.
Well, we have some local items to cover, and I could sit here and talk all day to you. I might come back and visit.
Sure, yes.
But Alice, thank you for joining us and sharing your excitement.
Thank you.
And thank the other students for us as well. And
You will.
Sister, thank you.
You're welcome. It's
this-
always great to be with you all.
What can the community do for y'all's pilgrimage besides pray for you?
Oh gosh, well that's always the number one. I think just mainly we might be. My hope is that we'll have another exhibit this spring, and kind of like the one we did last year, but focused on maybe this spring or this fall or both, where the students can present their studies on the particular Eucharistic miracle, but then also the different cities. So I'd love to create an exhibition where people can come and actually experience the same pilgrimage, like walk into St. Joseph's Hall and go to Orvieto first, read about the miracle, read about the town, and then go on to the next.
Be a great way to prepare for the pilgrimage.
That's what I'm thinking. So we're doing baby steps right now, probably just focusing on the Eucharistic miracle this quarter, but then I think I'd like to turn it into a big kind of pilgrimage event.
And you may have already thought of this, but when y'all come back, will y'all have a sharing session for the public to come in
Yes,
here?
I'm thinking about that a little bit more, but even part of the preparation and then coming back, I would love for these same groups that would focus on like this village with this Eucharistic miracle and that culture, like maybe even to have like small I don't know what you would call them, like just small gatherings where those three students could invite, their family, their friends, people in the community to have just a presentation, either in one of their living rooms or here at the school, and then come back later to share pictures and memories and the fruits of their contemplation.
Yes.
So that is my hope, and got to get to the drawing board and figure that out.
Yes.
Maybe even we could come again and you could share that with our listeners.
We'd love
Share
that.
that trip with
We
you
would
and the
love
kids.
that.
That would be
That'd be
that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Love the idea. Love it.
Yes.
Well, sister, thank you for taking the time to out of your class. I know you'd rather have been in class, right?
Right.
But thank you for sitting here and sharing
Thank
with
you.
all the listeners and the excitement. I mean, when I saw your video, if you're wanting to know more, Sister has a video on YouTube that she has produced. I don't remember the URL for it.
I don't either.
It's probably on the Bishop Lewis Reicher
I
website
think it's on our
as well.
website. If you
Yes.
Google like pilgrimage Reicher, I think it takes you to the page.
Yeah, so I watched that and I became very excited and
good.
couldn't wait to sit here and talk with you. And you will be in our prayers.
Thank you.
Everyone on the pilgrimage will be on
Thank
in our
you.
prayers. And I pray that you'll have safe travels. And I
Yes.
pray for vocations to spring from this.
Yes.
That the Holy Spirit just really just touches the hearts of these beautiful young people that we have in our community.
Right. Thank you. Well, and on that note, I think like even a few weeks ago, we had 13 young women join us for just a day with the sisters at our priory, and we have
wow.
4 going to Ann Arbor in 2 weeks for a discernment retreat. We have a few young men discerning the priesthood. And so I think, he's the Lord of the harvest and he's calling. And I think, we just put things in place so they can hear the call and respond.
I think that's one of the great strengths of a Catholic school.
Yes.
I was telling someone the other day, my grandson is in first grade over at St. Mary's in West. And he came home the other day. My wife teaches at St. Mary's, and he came home and he said, Grammy, I was thinking about being a father when I grow up.
Oh.
And she said, Samuel, you need to just pray about that and do whatever God calls you to do. But what I thought about is that thought would have never been in his brain if he wouldn't have been at St. Mary's or here at Bishop Lewis Reicher and participating in the things that you're presenting.
Right. It really has to be in the forefront. You have to have just those daily interactions and moments of prayer really are the most important.
For sure.
So you can hear the call.
Thank you for all you do, sister.
Thank you. It's great. And you will be in our prayers as well.
Thank you,
Thank
sister.
you.
God bless you.
God bless you too.